Hey, everybody. We are in front of the mic with the Beyond the Books podcast brought to you by accountingdepartment.com. I'm your host, Kevin Dry, and today we're joined by a couple special guests, Alicia and Sarah of accountingdepartment.com. Welcome. We're here to talk about some exciting things in the world of fantasy sports and pick 'em and things that we do internally here at ADC. Thank you all for joining me today. How's everyone's day going?
Thanks for
Good.
having us.
Glad to be
Having a
here.
great day.
Awesome, awesome. Well, typically we start these things off with a like kind of like a tell us about yourself or something like that. But today, let's hear about your position and role here at ADC and also tell us who some of your favorite sports teams are.
Alicia, you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go ahead. So currently I work on the proposal team here at ADC. I started early in the company back in 2007 as an accounting specialist. I moved to implementation, and then about 6 years ago moved to my current position. I'm in Georgia now, but I originally grew up in New York and I was the oldest of three girls. So my dad turned me into his sports fan early. He'd be mowing the lawn and I'd be running out telling him the Yankees score. I obviously grew up with the Mets and the Yankees and the Buffalo Bills, but then I moved to where I'm located now in Georgia back in 91. And that's when I learned what real football was. Down in the South, it's college football. So UGA all the way, go dogs. And I also love my Braves. So
Awesome.
Awesome.
So I'm Sarah. I'm HR generalist with ADC, and I am actually in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, but I was born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I am born and bred a Cincinnati sports fan through and through. All through my life, I always joke I live in a life of state of depression because they've not done great in the past years, but a couple of years ago we actually had a team. So now it's like, oh, what are we gonna do, good or bad this year? But Cincinnati Bengals and Cincinnati Bearcats, college team football, basketball, and Cincinnati Reds, who I think they're gonna make the playoffs this year. But and then I actually move down south when I was a senior in high school, and they told me I was in South Carolina, I had to become a Clemson and Carolina fan, and I was like, why? And they're like, no, you have to pick. And I was like, okay, Clemson. So I guess default-ish, I'm a Clemson fan.
Very nice. Yeah, and as for
and you?
me, I live in
Yeah.
Northeast Ohio, but I'm not a Browns fan. I'm not an Ohio State fan. I am originally from Tennessee and will always stay true to my teams. They disappoint me a lot, but Tennessee Vols and Tennessee Titans. And yeah, I'm, raising my son that way too until his peers get a hold of him and he ends up going for someone up here, but I'm gonna do my best. So
Good
yeah,
luck.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
it's
hard.
hard. Yeah, so we're gonna do our best there. And lately I've been kind of a bad fan. I've been cheering more for my fantasy teams than anything. And so Dr. Dry's Cutie Pies are probably one of my favorite teams. And just I don't know, it's fantasy plays a big role in my life. I love it. I was so excited whenever I started here and found out that we do pick'ems and we do fantasy football and all of those things. And I appreciate you guys letting me be involved with that as well. So Alicia, I know you've been here since 2007. We love what you
Yeah.
do here with the pick'em and everything. When and how did fantasy sports at ADC start?
I have to say it didn't start right away, but I'd say maybe 2012, 2013. I had been here 5 or 6 years, and my son, who is actually a huge fantasy football fan, he has all his pick'ems and his podcast, but he did a college pick'em league for our family. And we had so much fun that I actually talked to my coworkers and said, "Hey, how about we do this here next year?" So I think the first year we might have had 6 to 8 participants. It wasn't money, or it wasn't many, just kind of for bragging rights. And then each year we kind of built on that. So by 2018, we had about 35 participants, dipped a little bit during COVID, but this year we're up to 62, which is
Wow.
close to about 30% of our employees are participating in just the college pick'ems. So
That's awesome.
Nice.
yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. It's great whenever and fantasy sports in general has grown a lot over the last 10 years. Like I don't know, like I
Yeah.
know a lot of people who have it's their first year playing and just got a message about how it's become really fun for them and a great first time experience. So I think that's our job as veterans to, you know, just bring them along and it's great when like work leagues are fun. Like I know in previous places I've worked, it's usually like 10 to 12 of us kind of going away from everybody and having our little league. But here, there's so much going on. And so Alicia, tell everybody which one you're in charge of because I know you do a lot. You even do a lot in college basketball season as well. So what all does that look like for you?
Correct. So we do our college pick 'em throughout the college year, and that's where you pick the winners of 10 games each week. Once the season's over, they actually have a college bowl mania, it's called, and basically you get to pick the winners of each college bowl game. So that's a lot of fun. And then we started the fantasy football, which Sarah will touch on later. But we also do the March Madness tournament brackets. We do it
Yeah.
for the men and the women. We have done it for, so everybody gets to pick their tournament winners. And then this year they actually started an NFL Pick'em game also. So we are involved in several different ones. We have talked about baseball, but that's so hard. The
So
season is
much.
so long. so so we figured we weren't sure how much interest we'd have in that. So those are the ones that we are currently doing.
Yeah, love it.
I
Yeah,
really like
that's
that you
yeah.
don't have to know a lot about some of these.
Hmm.
Like March Madness, I always joke, like you could pick based off of mascots, you might end up winning.
You
Like,
Winning,
could.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's
I
it's fun for
remember
the novice.
Yeah, I remember one year I watched a lot of college basketball and was very confident going in. The worst bracket I've ever
Yeah,
made.
it
So,
happens.
so yeah, I mean, yeah, it definitely happens. That's what I love about it. It's something fun for everybody. It gives you a rooting interest in teams that you had no interest in before, but now you have a vested interest in them, and that's the beauty of pick'ems and college sports and something for everybody. So, love how involved Alicia has been over the years. I think that's awesome. Now, kind of moving on to Sarah. You do a different kind of you take on more of the fantasy football leagues. You commission 7 leagues this year, I believe.
No,
So,
it was a lot. This is the biggest one we've had so far for
yeah,
how many people? So,
yeah,
yeah,
amazing.
I took it over from one of our other staff members who actually started it, Shelly, but a couple of years back, probably about like my second year in with ADC. I'm not sure exactly, but it's grown every year. I was just looking at the numbers. We started, I think, in 2020 with around 20, and then it was 24 last year was 39, and this year is 52. So we do try to keep our leagues small because that way you don't have to be a super into knowing every single player on every single team to really pick those like people that are going to get you those numbers every week. But um, it's a lot, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, you do all the fun side of it because you totally have the knack for that. I can logistically put it together. I try to make it as nice and easy for every person, but basically, I go and I look at their level of this year starting out, their level. Are they beginner, veteran, intermediate? Where do they live? Are they West Coast? Are they East Coast? And then we'll try to set up the drafts based off of that so that they can try to be with people that are actually going to be watching the games at the same time or at the draft at the same time or something like that. And then tell us about what you do because you do the fun stuff at the end. Thank you for taking that over. It's been so much fun to listen to your stuff versus me just posting.
Well, the posts are super helpful. So I've been playing fantasy since 2005. And so been doing this a while. And one thing that I've always prided myself in as being like I commission a lot of leagues outside of work. So making it fun for everybody, making it become that league that everyone cares about, being more than just like, all right, like we're just gonna no communication or anything. Like it's good to have that touch base. And I do it in a fun way where we have the fantasy football minute where I can touch base on everything going on in all 7 leagues. I make a video send it out on our ADC news Zoom room. And anyway, it's not too long, usually about 10 minutes, but I like to give out awards too. So I'll give out the Bill Gerber Dominant Defense Award or the Dennis Najjar Super Score Award for those who score the most points in the week. And really just try to make it fun. I like to throw out little made up nicknames for everybody and lots of puns. I have a lot of dad humor, so I bring that into it. Um, but uh, but yeah, that's just a little something I like to do at the end of each week that I think people enjoy and keeps people interested. So I think
I
like
do.
with I love what all three of us bring to the table and how we make it fun for everybody. I've been in other work leagues and it's not near what we do. So I
Right.
love that. I think it is an important part of employee engagement where there's that general interest. Like a lot of us love sports so much, and to be able to bring that into the workplace, I think is really awesome. So um
I
now
actually think, oh,
mhm.
sorry,
Oh,
Ken.
no,
I
no.
actually think it's brought us closer because
Yeah.
as a virtual environment, it's hard to become close to your employees when they're not in the next or your coworkers. So we've gotten where on Saturdays during college pick'em, we'll actually text back and forth and banner. Nancy, our implementation manager, she was never into football. Today, sun up to sundown, she's sitting in front of that TV, texting people. It just has brought us a lot closer. I think we were able to be brought closer by sports, which I think is awesome.
It is. It's
Yeah.
so true. And like I think that like Kevin, your fantasy football recap and stuff brought more awareness to some
Mm.
people that didn't really think about it, or they just got the email and they passed it up, and has brought more interest into it, which is a lot of fun because like me and you earlier today were on with another coworker teaching her something with her lineup, and
Yeah.
it's fun to see them like actually want to know and learn and interest with it.
Yeah.
It's a lot
Those,
better than
yeah.
a Facebook post. Here's your winners
Yes.
this week. That's what I
So
used to do. And
great.
then when Kevin came in and really took that.
Right?
Awesome. Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear all those great things. I do what I can. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, I mean, I guess so yeah, lots of reasons why we enjoy doing this every year, I think. And I love that Alicia brought up that that we just it brings people closer together. It gives you something to talk about. Being virtual, you don't you aren't able to go to that water cooler, but who needs it whenever you have whenever you have all these things and can work from the comfort of your own home at the same time. So it's great, friendly competition, all of that, but we got to know what's on the line here. What are we competing for? So that it was bragging rights, and now we get another thing which we'll do a later episode on, nectar points. So nectar points are points that you get internally here where you can turn those in for gift cards, ADC swag, different things like that. So nectar points are on the line. You get a ton of nectar points if you win. Same thing for, that's another employee engagement thing that we do where we'll get more into it later, but you can recognize your coworkers and give them points and things like that. I just think we're doing a lot of great things here. But yeah, that's everything. Did anyone else have anything that they wanted to add to like incentives or fantasy in general or anything like that before we step off here?
No,
I think that
I
about
think,
covers it. Yeah.
yeah,
All
hope
right.
we get more participants every
Yes.
year and can keep going.
Yeah, yeah. Let's shoot for 15 leagues next year, and
Oh
uh,
my
and
goodness.
and 150 in the college pick'em, and
Yes. The
yes,
NFL has over 60 people in the NFL
nice.
pick'em. So that's
I think I
awesome. It's
heard
great
Kevin
numbers.
volunteered to assist you with that next year, Sarah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Well, definitely commissioning if there's going to be 15 leagues, but
yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll get it down. Yeah, teamwork makes the dream work, and
it does.
so anyway, well, yeah, it's been a really fun episode. I've enjoyed having you guys on here. We'll have to do this again sometime. So with that, going on, we're gonna wrap up episode 3 of Beyond the Books podcast, brought to you by accountingdepartment.com. Thank you so much, Alicia and Sarah, again for joining us today. I'm Kevin Dry, and we will AD see you later.
Bye. Have a good one.